Welcome to Intentional Excellence Elevate Your Life, the podcast where we dive into bold, transformative conversations to help you unlock purpose, embrace resilience, and lead your life with power and intention. I'm your host, Candice Ruggiero. I'm a keynote speaker, live show host, education expert, and founder of Novata Global Education Consulting. You're tuning into a powerful series called Burned, Not Broken. Struggle Space, Strength Found. This series is a sacred space for anyone who've been through the fire and rose. We are honoring stories of pain that led to purpose, breakdowns that birthed breakthroughs, and moments of silence that eventually roared into strength. Tonight, I'm honored to introduce a woman who embodies this story deeply. Alicia Angel is a transformational coach who helps high achieving women create versions of themselves they never knew were possible after years of burnout, stress, and pretending everything is fine. Her mission was born from her own unraveling. There was a time when Alicia looked like she had it all together: successful, reliable, always the strong one. But behind the scenes, she was silently breaking, overgiving, people pleasing, never resting. She was exhausted from living for everyone but herself. And she realized no one was coming to save her. So she did the deep work. She rebuilt her identity from the inside out using subconscious reprogramming, nervous system healing, and fierce self prioritization. And now she guides other women to do the same. Her program, From Surviving to Thriving, isn't about productivity or perfection. It's about taking your power back completely. It's about becoming the version of you who doesn't just cope, but learns to confidently prioritize herself, set boundaries, finally rest, and finally live. Let's dive into Alicia's powerful journey. My friends, my followers, and viewers, help me welcome Alicia to the show. Hi,
Thank you so
Alicia.
much. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So Alicia and I were able to talk a few minutes before the show started, and we were both able to share where we're from because this podcast is global. So again, let me mention again that I'm from Florida, and where you call it? Where are you
I'm from Texas.
podcasting from? Yeah, we were both sharing how the weather. We share the same kind of weather, warm, and we're both excited that summer is close. It's still a little not that too hot yet, but we both share that it's getting there,
It is
right?
getting there. Yes. And I'm so jealous that you're right by the water and you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
all these beaches. So I'm coming to visit anytime.
yes, I was sharing to Alicia that I'm not even joking, Alicia. Every day in the summer, let's say 1 month, you can go to a new place here in Florida. It could be the springs, it could be a park, it could be rivers, it could be the beach. New every day for 1 month. I'm not even exaggerating.
That's amazing. That's
It's just
amazing. I would love to come. You know what? Maybe Florida, here I come. I don't know.
and I was also sharing to Alicia that I used to live in New York, wherein most of the time it's winter, it's cold, and when it's winter time, there's really no place to go. Honestly. You know what I mean? You're just stuck inside the house or a building. So it's a good change. It's a good
Yeah.
change because I haven't really been here for a long time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I welcome you here whenever you come to visit in Florida. Buzz me. I'll take you
Thank
around. All
you.
right?
Thank you so much. And I will. I will. Yes.
Good. Alicia, did I mention, do you want to add anything to what I shared about you? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. There's just so much to
It's beautiful.
my
It's
whole
so many.
story that
Yes.
it's hard to put it into just a little bit of, introduction. There's so much. So, but no, that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
We'll use this podcast so that people will learn more about you because I know whenever I look at a guest application like interest, I really, really make sure that it's intentional because I know each person has a wonderful story and lesson to share with the viewers. So thank you. My honor to have you here.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you also. All right, let's begin, right?
Okay.
Okay, so Alicia, every transformation begins with unraveling that no one else sees. So you've shared openly through the bio that you shared with me, like looking like you had it all together while silently breaking inside. Now, can you take us back to that version of you? Like always the strong one, but exhausted from overgiving and people pleasing. And maybe in the process, what was really happening behind the scenes during that painful season of your life, Alicia?
Well, I was overgiving. I like to say that I gave so much that I gave my cup away. Like, they say, fill your cup or whatever. Like I gave my cup. I gave so much. I gave my cup away. I didn't have anything to fill. I was always trying to accommodate everyone. I wanted so badly to just help everyone that I could all the time. And I have perfectionistic tendencies. So it was like I was just driving myself, into the ground, trying so hard to be everything to everyone and get it all done, never saying no. Okay, ever. And always trying to find a way to make it work. But on the inside, I was exhausted. I mean, I was literally like, there were days I could barely get out of bed. I was driving myself. I became truly ill. My body just shut down, basically.
Was it physically, more emotionally, mentally, or
Oh
just
no, girl, it was physically, like
okay?
physically,
Yeah.
it got to the point, it went from being just exhausted to where I couldn't breathe. I started gasping, like I was on it, just like panting it was a year. Okay, you know how they say the year of the pig, the year of the
Yes.
this. Okay,
Uh
I
huh.
had the year of the doctor. Okay, like I went to every
Oh,
doctor possible to figure out what was wrong with me because could not breathe. I was terrified to
yeah.
leave the house for fear of I was going to have an episode of not being
Like a
able to
panic
breathe.
attack or something.
It
It
was like
sounds
a
like
continual
yeah.
panic attack. So I was diagnosed with 4 autoimmune diseases during this time. I had my shot. There was
Sorry
nothing
for
I wasn't
interrupting
willing
you.
to do.
When did this happen, Alicia? Like, what year was this? Was it like
It was
recently?
after after COVID. So it
Okay.
was
All right.
a few
Okay.
years ago, that it just culminated into the exhaustion, into insanity is what I truly say is it just went beyond. And I went to, there was almost, I'll say, there was almost nothing I wouldn't do to
Right.
help myself. I even went and had my chakras realigned. I did not even know what a chakra was. Okay. That's how
Can you help the viewers? What is a shock? Like, what are those?
they're
What
like
is it?
energy.
Okay.
There's several energy points throughout your body.
Okay.
And I'm still not even exactly clear on the chakra, but I know that they have to do with
So
energy.
our
And
body has certain energies, and you call them chakras. Okay.
right. And so
Thank
I
you.
went and had that realigned because there was literally almost, I say almost, nothing that I was not willing to do to get better. Um, because it was
Wow.
terrifying not being able to breathe. I would wake up in the middle of the night gasping
Do
for
you
air.
get like warning when you are go like into that, like when you are experiencing that
It just,
kind of
at
like
the end, it was the constant. Like at the end of that year, I went to heart doctor specialist. I went everywhere. And finally, it was anxiety and all of
yes,
the
yes,
stress that
stress.
was
Yeah.
running program in the background of my mind. I had no idea. I had no idea. And here I am still trying to do all of these things,
Yeah. Yeah.
but my body was like, no.
Giving.
It was giving, yeah. And so it was terrifying. It was terrifying. And when I went to every single doctor, And they were all like, "You're okay, you're okay," because I
Yes.
was like, I swear sometimes I would go to bed and think I'm not gonna wake
Yeah.
up the next morning, because that breathing, but my vocal cord
Yeah.
was shutting from the stress. It's called vocal cord dysfunction, and it was from all of the stress. It was shutting and closing, so air was not getting through. So I had
That
to
explains the loss of breath. That
yeah,
explains it then.
I
Yeah.
had to get a grip on myself and quickly, you know what I mean? And I knew I was the only one that could do it because no one else was they were still
Helping you. Nothing was
yeah, no
helping
one else
you.
was helping me. No one, absolutely not. And I don't know that anyone realized how bad it really was because I tried to put on a brave front, because I
Yeah.
thought, well, I don't want to worry everyone. Um, I didn't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
But I have since learned how ridiculous that is and how crucial it is to put yourself
Right.
as a priority and not as
Right. Right. Right.
you're not a burden. No one is a burden. You know what I mean? Like that is crazy thinking. Um, it gets me emotional because I went
Yeah.
through so so much. It was terrifying. Like I said, it was literally terrifying. And it just kept getting worse and worse until I had no choice but to
Okay.
acknowledge the fact that something was terribly wrong with me, and I had to
Wow.
quit doing everything. I was like,
Wow.
no more.
We're going to learn about exactly when was that turning point. I can't wait to hear that. Um, Tell us, when you learned about your chakra, who did you reach out to? Like, was that a specialist? Was that like, how did you find out that it could be one of your chakras? Like, is it a psychologist? Like, not everybody is aware of who to go to when in like when they encounter things like that. I know
Right.
you tried everything, but was there a specific specialist or somebody who
I
actually showed
am
you the way?
I am a researcher, and like
Okay.
I am just a diligent researcher. I will learn everything there is to know about anything there is. So, I mean, I was just researching continually about what
Right.
could possibly be wrong. I saw psychiatrists, psychologists,
Okay.
my
All right.
doctor, every heart doctor, allergist. I mean, like the
Yes.
list goes on and on. Every week I was at a different doctor, honest to
Right.
God. And so I thought, I'm going to look outside the box, you know?
Okay.
And I thought, what else is there? The doctors are not helping me. What
Okay.
else could there possibly be that could be wrong? Let me get these chakras aligned. Let me see if that'll help. Let me, you
Yes.
know? So I
So
tried
did you
that.
go to like a coach, a healer? Like who helps you with things like that?
Well,
Just in
there's a
case
lady
somebody
in
listening
in
would need
Dallas
one.
who does chakra
Okay.
work. I mean, I think
Okay.
that's a specialty like thing.
Okay. Chakra work. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So, and
Okay.
they work she works specifically with aligning your chakras, releasing all of these things. And I went through all of, all of the stuff. But still, apparently in the background, in my
Yes.
mind, in the background, in the subconscious, the anxiety was still playing out, you know, and it was not letting go. And it was just continual. I mean, it just
Right. Right. And I think the thing that really helped you is when you acknowledge the fact that this is not me anymore. I need help. You know what I mean? That is the big step for me that you did when you actually said, "Hey, not just the breathing. I think you needed change at that time." Not, I think the loss of breath that you can't keep. That was just you, at least finally waking yourself up. That like, hey, this is not normal. And I'm glad that you realize that it's the anxiety, it's the stress that's actually keep holding you back and
right,
making things happen to you. And sometimes women, like, what's it could be our strength and it also could be our weakness, just doing everything for everybody. Like a lot of women get into this practice wherein I think it's because also of our society. Like, a lot of things are expected of us. Like, we have so much, we have multiple roles. We're a mom, we're a sister, we're a daughter, we're a coworker, we're a friend. And we try to do everything, all our roles perfectly, not knowing that the best priority first is yourself. Like, a lot of people
Right,
are trying to prioritize others, people, please, like what you said. But in the long run, what's important is really me first. I
yeah,
matter,
right. When
and
I
I
thought I
hope
was
that,
going to die, when I literally
yes.
thought I'm going to stop breathing, that's when I said, "You know what? I'm done. I cannot do anything for anyone else until I fix me." And
And how can you give yourself 100% also when you yourself, like, you're not functioning 100%, like you said, your own cup is not full. So how, I feel like two negatives will not give you, it's just gonna give you pain. You know what I mean? Like, one aspect should be okay, but if you're both like a little bit like not yourself, then it's just not helping anyone,
right,
right?
I
It's
was
just
not
adding more.
helping. I wasn't
And
able to give
yeah,
my all to anything.
were you working in corporate office
I was
back then? Were
doing
you
nonprofit for no
okay?
profit,
Okay.
and I was doing everything for the nonprofit, and it was a small nonprofit, and it was, I felt so responsible for all these people. And it was, working with the homeless and people that had drug problems and people sleeping on the street and single moms. And so I took it on as my,
Yeah.
responsibility that these people they need me because
Yes. Yeah.
like I'm the only one that's doing this. So, it just turned, it was crazy.
We do so much for other people. So we do so much for other people.
Yeah.
Um, your story, I'm just glad that you shared your story because that hits me deeply too. Like, I remember being in a similar space. Um, when I was like 25 years old, like, instead of like out there, usually people at that age, 22, 23, they're trying to find their place after graduation, right? So that time, I was running two schools. I own two schools in the Philippines. So, and you hit something, this word that you said in the beginning, that I'm like, I was saying, yes, yes, I agree with you. The concept of perfectionism, right?
Yes.
I I think that our problem also, women like you and I, or a lot of people, is that concept of perfectionism. Like, at that time, I was the youngest school owner in the Philippines. I was featured on primetime news for technology in my school, and I felt like I could do anything. I could like run like just. I was doing multiple roles. Like, I set up the school, I managed the school, I was the director. I sometimes, when one of my teachers will be absent, I step in. When my bus driver, like, it was really a van, when my
For
bus driver was
everything.
absent, I would step in. Like, what I mean, you and I want to do everything because we have this notion of perfectionism. And guess what? Who sets the perfectionism? You and I. Nobody expects us to do anything. Nobody expects us to like put limit on ourselves. I just feel like it's a form of limitation, limiting belief when you put perfectionism on yourself. Right? Because nobody really tells you you have to do this. All right. So, um, like, so perfectionism is just one form of limiting belief, self-limiting belief. And I'm just glad that you're here sharing your story of burnout, because there's so many people, I'm sure, men, women, who might be going through the same thing, Alicia. And the way that it explained how it physically affected you, meaning you can't even breathe anymore. You were in bed. Like, I could see some sense of like form of depression already on you.
Oh,
I don't know
yes.
if that was what you're hitting. Like,
Yes.
and sometimes what's nice is you're reminding people that don't wait for that time wherein you are actually, you can't breathe anymore. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Don't wait till your body's shutting down to
Yeah.
stop and do we're that we are not here to do everything for everyone else.
No,
And
no.
we are hurting people by doing that. I've since learned that that actually hurts everyone. You know, we're holding people back, or I know I was holding people back and I didn't realize it because we're stunting their growth by not allowing them to go through the things that they need to go through to grow in
Yeah.
order to do those things for themselves. So, you know, hand feeding and doing every single thing for everyone is really only hurting them. And I had no idea, but I've since learned that. So, yeah, don't wait until your body is shutting down or you're terrified you might not wake up, um, to put yourself and act
Right.
like you matter. You know what I mean? Because like we all are here for a reason. We all serve a purpose, and it
Right.
isn't to kill ourselves doing for everyone else. That is not our purpose.
Eh,
So, you know, it's just, I'm glad and I'm so grateful to God, truly, that He
Right.
gave me the strength to be able to continue to find the answers because it was depressing. It
Right.
was, I mean, it was debilitating. It
Right.
was
Right.
it was the most difficult thing I can't even explain how hard it was for
Right.
for me, and I am so grateful to be on this side of it, you know,
Yes.
and thank
And
you, Jesus, but here I am, and so that I'm just truly glad that I'm able to stop people before they get
right.
themselves in that kind of situation, you
Right.
know?
Now I want to give our viewers really like red flags, all right? So
Yeah.
we now know that burnout doesn't just drain our energy, it fractures our sense of self. Like what you explained, it really affected you physically. Now let's go deeper, Alicia, into how years of stress and pretending everything was fine impacted you emotionally, mentally, and physically. Maybe maybe let's break it down, like what could be some red flags or what could be those things that we can share with the viewers to say that, oh no, I think I'm getting closer to that burnout stage, right? Like, what is it emotionally, mentally, and physically? Mentally, you said like you couldn't even breathe anymore. All right. Like, how did this relentless cycle affect your identity and your relationships and your ability to feel connected to yourself?
Well,
That added, like, maybe we can add.
in all honesty, I started feeling resentful, and I
Okay.
hate to
Yeah.
admit that. Okay.
Yes.
I truly hate, but I'm going to be raw
At
and real
yourself?
here.
Were you resentful like
I
others?
was
Yourself?
resentful at others. I was
Okay.
angry at myself that I wasn't able to say no. I felt
Okay.
weak, like, you
Okay.
know, why couldn't I tell people no? Why couldn't I set better boundaries? You know, why
Yes.
didn't I set better boundaries to
Okay.
begin with? Um, a, a lot of emotional things, you
Right.
know, and I felt like people were taking advantage, and why couldn't people understand and have their own sense of, you know, morality and like know not to push people to that point, but then I was the one who kept giving. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Like they didn't ask for us or you and I to do it. It was, again, it's that perfectionism. It's that mentality of like you gotta please everybody or you just have to, do
Right.
everything yourself, right?
Right. And exhaustion, you know,
Yes.
people start feeling tired and exhaustion. And when you start not wanting to answer the phone because
Yes.
you feel like someone is going to ask you to do one more thing,
Right, right.
you know, that's definitely a red flag. You know what I mean? When you start staying at home and not wanting to go to gatherings because people are going
Yes.
to ask you to help them or they're going to ask
And
you
you
to
know
do
you
these
can't say
things.
no. You know you're gonna not say no.
Exactly, exactly. You know, and when you're the one that everyone comes to fix
Yes.
every single thing, then you need to stop.
I
And
mean, it feels good when we know that people like us, people rely on us. Sometimes there's this sense of like, oh, I'm wanted, I'm needed. But that's still part of you pleasing people. You know what I mean? Do not mistake that to like, oh, I'm really wanted. Sometimes it's just like what you said, taking advantage. And like, so you still need to put boundaries on yourself, like when learn
yes,
to say no. Sometimes saying no, it's actually self-care. self-care like journey. Part of self-care for me is just saying no. And no is strength. I don't think no is a weakness. I started realizing now that saying no to things or people that no longer serve me or just drain me is actually power. That's
Yes.
one thing I wanted to add with what you just shared, right?
Yes, absolutely. And no is a complete sentence. And
Yes. Yes, I love that. I
you
love
don't
that.
have to have filler after. You can say no and let
Yes.
there be nothing else and no other conversation. You don't have to fill that void in. You can just say no and stand there. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's
That is so
good.
powerful. I like what you just said. That is something that I will surely make a caption when I share this, that no is a sentence. I love that. Like you don't have to add anything. It no is
Right.
no. Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
And people
You
need
know,
to respect that. And people that care will respect that.
and people who don't understand why you're saying no, guess what? Then say, it's time to let go. It's time to say, okay, you're not
Right.
part of my journey right now because I need to take care of me first. Okay.
Right.
I
Right.
need to heal. I need to take care of myself, and you're not helping in this my journey. So if
Right.
people don't understand the boundaries that you're setting, family or friends, guess what? It's okay.
It is
Because
okay.
when your healed self, when you finally reach that healed self, then they can come back and meet your healed self. You know what I mean? And you can shine bright for them. And
Right.
hopefully, you know, be an
Yes.
instrument of like help for them. Like at least, you're empowering them as well. So
Absolutely.
but sometimes that break from a person, a situation is an answer. Is an
And
answer to that.
people are here for a reason or a
Yes. Yes.
season. And
Yes.
sometimes their season may be over. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Or your season may be over. You don't need to grab on and hold on to that relationship, especially if they're not respecting you when you're saying no and I need to care about myself. You
Yes.
know, at the end of our
Yes.
lives, at the end of our lives, we are here to be ourselves.
I love that. I love that. Thank
You
you.
know, God is going to ask us, why weren't you Alicia? Or, you know what I mean? Why weren't you Candace? Why did you be all of these other people? You know what
Right.
I mean? Like that is, I really realized that. That was
And
a huge
nowadays,
thing.
especially our society, there's so much distraction, so much negativity, so much issues. You know what? You can't solve everything, but
Yeah.
what you have control of is yourself,
Right.
right? Like
Hmm.
there's nobody who can help you but you,
Right.
right?
That's so
and
true.
and,
Yes.
and think about the people that like really matters to you. That's your first priority, your children, your family. How can you really be with them 100% when you're struggling, you have some issues that you're dealing with, you know what I mean? And these are the people that really need you. So
Yeah.
you need to be whole for them, which are
Absolutely.
children, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Our spouse. I do.
Absolutely.
I remember, Alicia, I remember feeling like there was a time in my life when I really felt like I couldn't even hear my own voice anymore. Like I had lost the essence of like who I was because I was always in the do mode. So there was a point in my life, Alicia, where I experienced another burnout major in my life. So I was married for 17 years and my husband has, 6'4" Italian, tall guy who had been sick. Like he had a massive heart attack like the year before we met. He was only 37, but he had a massive heart
Mm.
attack that completely damaged his heart. So on a daily basis, he was functioning because of medicine. You know what I mean? Without what, a dozen medicine pills, he wouldn't function the right way. So
Right.
he like on our third year, he didn't really do much towards our maybe third year of marriage because like heart issues always interfered with his daily functioning. So I felt the weight of the world on me during that. I mean, during our entire
Yeah.
marriage, like I felt like it was heavy lifting as a wife,
Yeah.
a mother, and a worker. Like I would, on top of that, I would have to drive him to like multiple doctors. That we were looking for the best ones, but despite that, I made sure I provided for my kids. I was like doing multiple roles, like, and I still, we would go on vacation just myself with the kids because I didn't want my kids to lose the normal just because my husband was sick. Like my husband couldn't even pass through a metal detector because he had defibrillator. So it was just,
Oh,
and he's
wow.
6'4". Like if he goes to a plane, if you're not in first class, it's uncomfortable because he's really like
Right.
a tall guy,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So Alicia, I just wanted to say that at that time also I kind of felt burned out in a different sense. I guess as a role, I'm looking more as like a role of the multiple roles that I was doing. So that, like I just wanted to share that so that others will understand that burnout can come in many forms.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes your work, sometimes your just personal life, or sometimes like most of the time it things that you are, it's just your everyday life.
Right.
That you can lose yourself because
Oh,
of,
yeah.
like I had identity crisis, or like what you said, exhaustion, which I called identity crisis. It wasn't, I was just performing my role. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Wanted to
Yes.
share that. I wanted to share that.
That's
Now,
huge.
right? Now, there's always a breaking point, Alicia, where pretending is no longer an option. So, for you, was there a specific moment when you realized no one was really coming to save you and you had to take your power back? What steps did you first take as you began to rebuild your identity and move from burnout to true healing? I know you're empowering some women right now. I don't know when that point happened in your life, but was there a time that really, like you said, no, I'm taking my power back. I'm okay. Like, I went to this healing of my chakra and stuff like that. When did you now begin to really rebuild your identity and move from that burnout to true healing?
When I realized that it was from stress and anxiety,
Okay.
running a whole thing in the background, which I
Did
would have
somebody say that to
never.
you? Was
Yes.
your chakra specialist say that, or did you discover that yourself during the process?
Actually, it was my psychiatrist that I
Mm-hmm.
had seen at the time. He says, "Well, I guess it could be that you're having anxiety in the background." So I was like, "Well, what is the background? What is
Yeah, like
the
define, like
background?"
what is the background? Yeah.
So I started, here I am on my research kick, and I and
Are
I
you a
realized
researcher by profession, or you just like to research?
I love to learn. I am a constant avid learner, but
Nice.
so I just started researching, and I realized how much of our lives are controlled by our subconscious mind. And so I somehow fell in with a transformational coach, which I'm so grateful for. And it made things started changing for me
Wow.
almost immediately, almost immediately. Um, and I fell in love with personal transformation. I
Uh,
started becoming certified in everything, everything that had to do with any kind of mindset or, um, you know, personal development. I love,
yes.
and so that is how I started getting better, is by
Nice.
working with a transformational coach and realizing I don't need to be everything for everyone. I need to be me for me. You know what I mean? And then then at that point, I'm in a much better position to help everyone. So,
And you know what I like about what you did was there was no machines, there was no gadget, there was no medicine. When I listened to how you transformed yourself through the transformational coach, it's more of inner work. Am I right? It's just
yes,
going deep and realizing who you are as a person, which is for me the best way to heal because you're not using anything that will you'll be dependent on, like medicine or like a gadget, like what I said. It's you, your medication, your way to heal is just simply you. You were your own catalyst for change and transformation, and nothing can beat that. Nothing can
right.
beat that,
Right,
right?
and you're not dependent on the pharmaceutical
Yes.
companies, and you're not dependent on a pill. You're able to get a hold of yourself once you
Right.
learn the process. Once I learned how to get a hold of my thinking and my thought patterns and
Right.
my scattered mess of a mind, once I started getting that under
Right.
control, everything just started falling into place. I started getting better. And as a matter of fact, I even had a meeting with my whole family, and I was like, I just want to let everyone know that things may come out of my mouth that have never come out of my mouth before. And you're going to
Yeah.
hear me say things
Like
that
positive things, or what do you mean? Like positive things,
well,
negative,
I
or
just
because
meant like no, or no, not right now, because they
you
had
were
not.
setting boundaries also. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and they weren't used to that. So it was a whole it was a whole meeting. So it was good, and I learned, of course, like I said, I learned to get a hold of what I was thinking so that it didn't get out of control and start spiraling and
Right.
then running in the background before I even knew. And then here I am ill again. I was not wanting that to ever happen again. And
You
I
know,
don't want that to happen for other people.
and you know what I like about what your transformation is, you got to really know who you are. Like the way that you explained yourself, that this is, you needed to realign this, or you need to reprogram this. That takes a lot of inner work. And when you get to a point where, and you know who you are as a person, you know your true identity, you know your soul, you know your energy, you know your strength and weaknesses, you can actually really fix your life on your own, because you know your, who knows, you were sometimes the issue is that you don't know yourself. That's why it's hard to heal or work on yourself, because you don't really know, you're not accepting, you're not in a mode, or at that point where you're accepting your challenges, your defeats, your struggles. Like what get from what you said is like you were accepting, hey, this is my weakness, this is what I'm not good at, so that at least you know when to say no, or you know what things you needed to work on, right?
Right,
Because
right,
we're not perfect. There's
right,
something in us that's not working, that may add to that burnout or exhaustion that we talked about, right? Because we all
right.
have limitations. But get going into that transformational process that you said, I'm sure you were able to find the deepest part of you that maybe not working anymore, or maybe that you had to like change to help you become a better person,
Yes,
right?
yes. And I had to realize that go, go, go all
Yes.
the time is not that's not the way to live life. Every day, in the evening, we need to take stock of like how our day went, what
Right.
was our thinking, what was going on in our mind. Were we just going from one burning out
Yes.
burn,
Yes.
putting out this fire to another, running to the grocery store, cooking dinner, getting the kids ready, or were we taking some time to figure out what is happening, in our own mind?
Yes.
Where are we in here? Are we okay? You
Yes.
know,
Now, Alicia, let's tell the viewers. Sometimes people want to do things on their own. It could be pride, or it could be they don't know that they need help. How helpful was it to ask for help?
it was life changing.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know how I would have gotten better
Matt.
without that help, honestly. There was no pill that was going to help me. I would have been just bedridden,
Okay.
unable to breathe. I would have been medicated out the wazoo, honestly. Um, and so I'm just so truly grateful that I stumbled upon that transformational coach.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't know where I would be today. I mean, I honestly, really, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, because like a lot of people are just like what I said, like ashamed or just so prideful, thinking that they can do everything themselves, or like they take asking for help as a sign of, again, failure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
But
hope
we're
people
supposed to
understand.
be a community. We are
Yes,
supposed
yes,
my weaknesses are someone else's strength.
yes. I love
And
that.
so
Love
we
that.
need to be in a community, as a community, helping one another. We're
Right.
not meant, no man is an island. We are not meant to be everything for even ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we are interconnected and we should honor that. We should honor that.
It's just like what you said, interconnectedness. Like whenever I have a guest in my podcast, every episode that I have, Alicia, I learn from them. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
so like that's why I love this show so much, because while hosting, I learn from these wonderful guests that I have, like you, like things that I wasn't aware of myself, things that, like, oh, wow. Wow, I can actually do that. Like after speaking with someone on how they were able to heal or work on themselves, I'm like, well, maybe I can do that too. You know what I mean?
Oh
Sometimes
yeah.
you don't
Right.
really need a doctor. You don't really need a psychologist. Sometimes you learn from each other.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Really. And can I share with you something? That breaking point, I had one too, right? So for me, so I shared with you about my husband, right? So 2023, I lost him. He passed away finally, all right?
Mm.
57 years old. Just heart complications already. So that's when I felt like, I guess that was my breaking point, because I had to adapt to extreme changes in my life, one after the other. Alicia, within 2 weeks that he passed away, 2 weeks, like, I'm such a perfectionist. I'm already planning. Instead of grieving, I was like planning my life. That day when I found out that he passed away, I mean, he passed away that night. The next day, I was in school 5 o'clock in the morning,
Oh my gosh.
leaving lesson plan, because I was a teacher then.
Oh my gosh.
That was how my mind was working. He was already passed away, right? So they were sending him to, because he was going to be cremated. The next day, I was in school just to
Mm.
leave lesson plan, because I cared. You and I cared too much, right?
Yeah.
Instead of grieving and really crying, within 2 weeks, I moved house.
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
already planning my future, because it's like that's me, that perfectionism. Like I moved house because our house was huge. It was sad. Like we could like see him everywhere. And I only have two kids who live with me. The other one is already like older. So I had in 2 weeks I moved within two
Wow.
weeks.
That's crazy.
Um, because it was sad. It was huge, our house, and overwhelming, and financially, I had to
Yeah.
like plan my life now. So that was my breaking point, all right? When I looked at myself in the mirror, and like after a few months I looked at myself in the mirror, like I didn't know myself anymore. Like I was just, I part of it was still the effect of like when that 17 years of like, not me losing my identity and just waking up saying like, oh my goodness, like I can't do this. I need change. Like I looked at myself in the mirror, and like didn't like I look miserable. I look like sad. I look like I had no control of my life.
A
From then on,
stranger. You look like a
yeah,
stranger, right?
yes. I didn't know who I was, and I knew I was born. Growing up, I used to be a happy child. I was like always singing and dancing. Like there was this, I missed that.
Yeah.
You know what I did for a year, 2024? I did not go to work. I didn't care about finances. I used whatever I had, did not go to work, because I never formally grieved, because
Mm.
like I had to finish the year, and I went on a self-care journey.
Mm.
Didn't go to work. In that year that I went on a self-care journey, I it was just me. I prioritized myself. Okay. My self-care journey was taking care of my physical, mental, social well-being. I went to the gym, lost some weight, went on yoga, hot yoga, dancing Zumba. I found
Wow.
meditation on my own. I didn't even know how to properly meditate. I just thought that, hey, my mind is so busy right now. I needed to silence my mind, close my eyes, and before I knew it, I was meditating, not knowing what it actually meant. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I was doing affirmations, not knowing that I didn't read about affirmation. I was just saying, like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. My life is gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. And you know what? By being positive, Alicia, my life changed. I became the best version of myself. I turned my back on my profession after 30 years. And I went
Wow.
and I found the speaking, the keynote speaking, which eventually led to podcasting, which eventually led to me writing a book, and everything else followed. Now I'm a host. I host like every Monday. Like my life changed within a year. And I call that self care. So that was my breaking point. I love me. That's how I healed myself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, like what you said, asking others is is how you healed. For me, really prioritizing myself. I was um greedy for myself. Like I just love myself. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So that is how I wanted to share others. Like ask help or work on yourself. Work on yourself.
Absolutely.
The best way that you can, because nobody's going to tell you what's best for you. Like you don't, nobody needs to do what I did. Only you can do what's best for you.
Right.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. That's awesome that you did that. And it's awesome that you were able to even
Thank you.
think like that. That's amazing.
And I didn't worry about anything, like not even finances. I think like my priority was me. Let me take care of my me. But I came to a point now that I love what I'm doing. Like I'm changing others, not changing, like I'm really empowering others in my own simple way. And for me, that's priceless. There's nothing
Absolutely.
that can, replace that
Absolutely.
feeling of
Yes.
sometimes people that I don't know will reach out to me saying that, hey, I watch a podcast. Hey, I like what you said. Like, you know what I mean? Like nothing can
Yes.
change that
I
feeling.
love that. Yes, absolutely.
And I meet incredible people like you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yes.
collaborate. This is not going to be the last time we're going to talk. Like we're going to help each other in our own way.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yes, I agree. That I would love that. Yes.
Like what you said, community. We're
Yes.
community,
I'm
we
so
help each other.
I'm so serious about that. Yes.
Now, Alicia, thank you. Real strength is built quietly in those small daily choices to reclaim your life. Let's talk about resilience through your lens. How did you cultivate resilience while doing the deep work, whether it was your nervous system healing, subconscious reprogramming, or your fierce self prioritization? Prioritization. Like what kept you moving forward when it felt impossible? Maybe at this point, also, maybe you can share about like what you actually do now. All right.
Well, I know that I definitely did put myself as a priority, which I had never done before,
Okay.
um, and that was huge, putting my and I felt guilty,
Yeah.
and I had to overcome that and tell that part of myself to get lost, basically, and I had to learn that I mattered.
Yes.
And so I had to deal with some deep seated things that, like, why did I put everyone else's needs above my own? How was I going to learn how to set these boundaries? What were my boundaries? There was a lot to it,
Yeah.
but that is one of the things that I help women with,
Okay.
right now, um, through my program from
Okay.
surviving to thriving. But it was a process. It's a process. It's not just an overnight, oh, here I am
Yes.
healed and great. It's still a process.
Right.
Even today, every day I have to remind myself, I matter. I'm not going to let people encroach and get in my little bubble, you know. And like I said, everyone needs to be responsible for their own things. And if
Healing.
we're doing everything for everyone, we're hindering their growth. And I remind myself of that often, you know, because people do want me to do for them, you know, and it since it's in my nature to do for people,
Yes.
it's easy for me to get caught up in that. And I'm like, nope, that's for you to learn and grow from.
Just yeah, imagine if you're doing every, like, how are they going to grow, even solving their own problems, you know what I mean? Like, you need to deal with it on your own because you have the strength in you. I believe
Absolutely.
that everybody has the strength, everybody has skills, everybody has gifts, you know what I mean? It's just a matter of you, like, just like silencing your mind, deep reflection. What am I good at? Like, what, how can I navigate around this issue? How can I navigate around this problem? I
Right.
don't think anybody can't solve anything. I believe that anybody can work on themselves if
Oh,
you
yeah.
are only open to what you can do. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Know
Yeah.
yourself,
Yes. And it's
right?
not a weakness to ask for help.
Yes,
That's a
yes,
strength. You know,
right.
it's a strength in reaching out for help. That is a strength that most people think is weakness.
I
And
love
so it's absolutely the other way around, you know?
I love that. I love that. So, I remember also a season in my own life where I had to rebuild from the inside out. So, for me, resilience looked like waking up each morning and saying, like what you said, like what I mentioned, I love positive affirmation. Like, I tell myself, just take the next step. Sometimes it was as small as drinking water or stepping outside for air. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like I
Yes.
said, when you do that self care, when you want that change, it doesn't have to be big. It could be baby steps,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
But each choice was a quiet act of like reclaiming myself. I did one thing maybe daily until it became part of me. Like that process became part of me. And you know what? It's just so powerful to be reminded that healing isn't loud. You have to be intentional. Just be intentional on what you do and make it your own. And it's just amazing how it works. Like
Right.
little
Yes.
things can work, and
Yes.
for others, listening to a podcast can be self care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find someone who you'll resonate with. You know what I mean? And sometimes all you need to do is listen to what others have to say. And sometimes there's this light bulb, and oh, yeah, you're right. That is also self care for me. You know what I mean? Learning from each other, like what you
Oh,
said, that
absolutely.
community, that help, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Now, Alicia, you stand in your purpose now. You help others rise from their own unraveling, right? So, looking at your work today with achieving women who are burned out and tired of pretending. So, how does your own story, you did that, empower your mission? Maybe share more about like what can perspective like clients get from, let's say, if they connect with you, or like how can you help them with anything, like, you know what I mean, like how can you empower them more through
Well,
your program?
Well, I think that each individual person has their own unique story,
Okay.
and we all have things that we need to learn how to
Guidance.
set our
Yeah.
own boundaries. We all everything is different for each person. So it seems like it's all an individual type, situation,
Yeah.
but boundaries, self-care, learning that you matter and that doing for everyone is harmful, not helpful,
Yeah.
you know? And doing for yourself is not selfish.
Right, right, right.
People need to really learn that it's very in our society, it's very common that if you do something for yourself, you're selfish. It's
No.
the opposite. It's truly the opposite. You have to take in an airplane when when the oxygen masks come down,
Yes.
the first
You
thing they
first,
say,
right?
you put it on yourself first, and then you're able to help everyone else, right? And
Yes.
so that's what people need to understand is that they have to help themselves first before they can help anyone else because they're going to run out of
Yes. Fuel,
the
energy.
yeah,
Yep.
the fuel, the energy. They need to restock on their selves, you know.
Alicia, what were some transformations that you are witnessing in the clients you now coach through your program from surviving to thriving? Like, what were some transformations now? The
Well, people go from exhausted,
okay,
a lot of resentful,
okay,
you know, secretly resentful, things that people don't want to admit, you know, not wanting to answer that phone call, not wanting to respond to that email, you know, because of the ask.
yes,
And people learning to stand in their power and learning that their no is a complete sentence
I
and that
love
they
that.
don't have to explain anymore. They don't have to fill in the gap or the silence. And that's, you know, that's on the, once you say no, anything else is on the other person. You know what I mean? You've said
Yes,
no, and they should respect that.
right. I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So I've been in the field of education, and burnout is big with teachers,
Mm.
really big with teachers, because of just the tremendous work people don't realize what teachers do on a daily basis. Teachers work is not just, well, I'm supposed to be an admin. I have, assistant. I have my degree admin, but like I said, I'm not doing, I'm still in school for other things, but not really, like I'm doing it because like I love it now, not as like a profession. um I see how teachers really lose themselves on a daily basis because of just the demands of being a teacher. That's why I have my own um, teacher empowerment. I created a global education consulting wherein I support teachers and administrators and students all over the world through digital courses. I'm releasing my digital courses soon, virtual professional development and in person. Traveling, putting up schools in different countries. Like I'm still, I just it's new, but those are my objective. And part of my program is really helping the burnout because I believe in that, how burnout can really affect a person.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I just wanted to share with you that anywhere, like you can really empower people anywhere, not just women. I don't know if you're open
Right.
to women, if your group is just women, because men experience it too.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? So I just wanted to share that yeah, it is everywhere, the burnout. And that's why in my own way I'm trying also as a keynote speaker. That's one of my keynote talk, just combating burnout. I have digital courses to really assist teachers in my
Mhm.
own way. And like asking for help, those are really important. And those self-care, those what we talked about, the emotional, social, spiritual well-being, how to help ourselves, and in those way, the meditation, the affirmation, those are really powerful ways
Yes.
to help yourself. And I like what you added, the reprogramming, the chakra and stuff, something that I hope others will go for, uh, to know that that's inner work. That's the best way to heal, is really find your inner work. You know what I mean? Inner self,
Yes.
finding
Right.
your inner self. So actually,
Absolutely.
that what you said gave me chills. Honestly, I've met so many people who are praised for their strength while they're quietly breaking down. So it's incredible to see what unfolds when others remember who they were before the world told them who to be. Because our society nowadays like make you do things that even if you don't want to, you're forced to do it because of, I
Oh, yeah.
guess, the perfectionism and expectation also. But you first, please remember what Alicia said. You first, take care of yourself first, right? Now, Alicia, before we close, I always ask my guests to leave a lasting imprint, a message that can spark hope. So, for anyone listening right now who feels trapped in burnout, overgiving, and exhaustion, what is one piece of wisdom or powerful truth you want them to take from your journey today? Like, if they are going to remember you, what is that one thing that you said that they're like, oh yeah, she said this. Like, what is that one thing that can really help them?
Well, let me just say this. It just takes one tiny decision
Okay.
to decide that you matter. And then the follow through is where the hard work comes in. But just decide that you matter, and then once you make that decision, just move forward and act like there's no other choice. There's no other option because you made that decision. So you don't
Yes.
get to keep making it over and over. You don't have to make it over and over. You just have to follow through because you made the decision that you matter and you do matter. Every one of us matters, and it's not right to have so many people suffering. It's not right when there's so many people that are here to help, you know,
Right.
and so that's just one thing, make that decision. It's a tiny decision, that you matter, and just go from there.
I love that. And to add to what you said, while you are going through that process of sticking up to what you said, enjoy the process,
Oh, yeah.
enjoy the journey. Like the
Yes.
best part of my self care is I'm giddy. I'm excited. Like when I buy new makeup, when I buy new clothes, like it makes me feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Enjoy the process. When I go walk to ground myself, even in my backyard, I enjoy myself. You know what I mean? Just like if
Yes.
I'm cooking, if I'm baking, I'm actually living at the present moment and just simply
Yes.
enjoying what I'm doing. And that's
Enjoy
I think
life.
I wanted to add what you said. Just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process of your healing. When you know what I mean?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
like what you said, you're a lifelong learner. Keep learning, keep changing, keep evolving for you.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I love that. Very, very good. And I hope that what you just said, I hope people don't forget that that was medicine, what you said. And I hope everyone listening holds on to that.
Thank
Because
you.
yeah, right. I want them also to remember real strength. It's permission to rest, to say no, to be human, and I want them to know that that's one truth that you and I, or a lot of people, often neglect, right? The permission to rest and to say no. I nap a lot, Alicia. My weekend, for me to recharge, I need my nap. Okay,
Well,
I'm
you
like a
gotta do,
little.
yeah. Take care of
That's
you. You need
that's me.
that. And look how energetic you are right now. You need, girl, take your nap, okay? You deserve it.
And you know what? I am not gonna be ashamed of it. I come to work, so I come like I'm home around 3:30. I take a nap for an hour and a half, and usually I podcast at night or I have my script, I have my live show. Look at me. You don't see exhaustion in me because I take naps. So don't
Yeah.
laugh at me. I do
You're
take
taking
naps
care of
every
yourself.
day.
I love that. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. I love
Cause
that.
like how can you like you're already working because I went back to work like you're already tired from work so I can't force my brain needs to rest. That's why I nap. So now I'm energized. I can have
Yeah,
45 minutes of power nap and I can do 3 more hours of work, whether mentally, physically, because I'm like energized. So that's how I do my self-care naps.
that's awesome. I love it. And you deserve it. Look at you. You're beautiful. You're
Thank you.
radiant. So I think that's wonderful. Yes.
And sometimes, all right, this is for anyone. Play around, find ways to look beautiful. Like I love my makeup. Like you don't have to like go out of the way to buy expensive stuff. Like I love my clothes, I love outfits. You know, I can wear like a $5, $7 shirt and look good. It's you. You make yourself
You
look
make it
pretty,
work. You make it
right?
work. That's right.
You're gonna laugh. I have my wardrobe is full because that's my self care. But like I said, I don't need expensive, stuff. I know how to take care of myself. But I
Yeah.
do have obsession with my outfits.
Hey, I like clothes too and shoes.
Yeah,
So
right? And shoes
and makeup. I like all the
and
girl things.
makeup.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Because like I said, you need to be able to look at your mirror and like, ooh, I like how I look today. You know what I mean? You need to fall in love with yourself.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Feel good about
myself.
you.
Right? Sometimes I have teenagers, right? I'm like, because I get, I'm kind of silly. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're gorgeous, Candace. Like I look at myself, I'm so gorgeous. Oh my teenager kids are like, all right, mom, we hear you. Okay. All right, so
You're
just
just
be
telling the
happy.
truth. You're telling the truth.
To myself, like I don't care if you don't agree with me, but I think I'm gorgeous. I think I'm beautiful. Nobody's gonna love you but yourself. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Absolutely.
Because
Yes.
I reached that point before that I wasn't. I thought I was not pretty. I thought I was not gorgeous. You know what I mean? Now I'm reclaiming it. No, I'm love it.
Hell
I love
yeah. Go
myself. I love
girl. That's
myself.
right. That's right.
All right, so before we wrap up, Alicia, how can our listeners and viewers connect with you? Like, you want to share your socials, you want to share your website, like how can they
Yeah.
find you?
Well, on Facebook, I'm the Alicia Angel,
Okay,
and I have a website. It's aliciaangel.com.
okay.
So they can connect with me there. And on Instagram, it's the Alicia Angel as well. It's just so pretty easy to find.
I love your name. It's so easy to remember, Alicia Angel. Right? I love
Right.
that. And then when I share, because I do have multiple social media platform, part of a social media platform, I will ask for all your links. So when I share them, they can directly, you know, the links are there, so they can really connect with you. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
So, is there anything else that you want to add, or before I wrap up the show, anything else that you
I
want to
would
say?
like to add, please, I want to say this. Please don't wait and allow yourself to get sick. Don't waste your life doing for everyone else when you could be living and doing for you as well. Prioritize
Right.
yourself and make yourself matter, because you do. Every one of us is here for a reason, and I just want people to really truly,
That.
get that they matter, and they're not just here to be someone else's servant, or you know what I mean? So
Thank
that's
you for that.
it. That
It's
just
big. That's a very important message that you just shared. Thank you. And I want to add that, hey, to all the viewers, don't wait for a defining moment in your life before you finally love yourself,
all
because when a
right.
defining moment happens in your life, defining moment could be somebody passed away, or a divorce, separation, loss of job. When that defining moment happens and you're not prepared, you didn't fully love yourself prior to that defining moment, your life's gonna change, your life's gonna be a little bit chaotic, and you might find yourself again in that exhaustion and burnout because yourself you didn't find time to love yourself. So
Right.
right now, right as you listen to this podcast, while meeting Alicia and I, if you're a new subscriber or follower, make this path right now that I am going to take care of myself right now.
Yes. Right.
Because like
Yes.
what I said, don't wait for that when you couldn't breathe anymore, or when you don't can't look at yourself anymore in the mirror, or when something happens in your life, because it's going to shake things up for you, and you might not be strong enough to um, help yourself. So just
Right.
take
Make
care
that
of yourself
decision
now.
now.
Now, yes, never too late. Baby steps if you have to. Baby
Absolutely.
steps.
Baby
You know,
steps.
doesn't have to be big, right? And there's
Right.
so many. Whatever works for you might not work for Alicia and I. Self-care comes in many form. It doesn't have to be from the book. You,
Right.
whatever, music, art, singing, dancing, cooking, um, affirmations, meditation, mindfulness, those are things that you can do right this instant. Right this instant, right?
Yes, right.
Love that. You don't need to take off from work to start. You can start right now. You can start
That's
right
right.
now. Breathing, even just breathing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Take a deep breath
Beautiful.
and decide you matter, dude. Just decide you
Love it.
matter.
Love it. And don't forget her sentence. No is a statement. What did you say that? I'm never
No
going
is
to
a
forget.
complete sentence.
No is a complete sentence. I'm going to make sure I put that excerpt because I would always share some important excerpt that you said. I'm going to make sure I do that exactly because I love what you
Awesome.
said. I love. All right. So, to our listeners, this has been another powerful episode of the Burned But Not Broken series, where women, not just women, everyone rise from ashes with wisdom and fire in their soul. Tonight's episode reminded us that resilience is built in the quiet and healing is a sacred thing. It's a sacred rebellion. If you'd like to connect with me, my website is www.candicerugiro.com. My social media is linktree/Candice Ruggiero. All right. Easy to remember.
Yeah.
Linktree/Candice Ruggiero. So to everyone tuning in, thank you for your presence, your heart, and your commitment to intentional living. Alicia, thank you for being in my show. You are an angel, not just your name.
Thank
You are
you
truly
so
an
much.
angel.
Thank you for having me. It's been such an honor. I've loved it. I have
And this is not
truly,
going to be the last time. We are going to collaborate and connect and
I
hopefully
would
meet
love
in
that.
person eventually.
Yes,
Uh,
I would love that.
Thank you. So remember, everyone, every small step taken in love and truth is a victory. Keep choosing you. And until the next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and stay intentional. Have a good evening, everyone. Have a good evening, Alicia. Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you so much. Bye bye.